Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're sharing a story that I think will resonate with a lot of you. It's a story about first love, the kind that feels like it will last forever. It's about promises made under starry skies and the difficult, often painful, journey of growing up. Let's dive into the story of Mia and Noah. Our story begins on a warm summer evening, the kind where the air is thick with the scent of jasmine and the hum of crickets. Mia and Noah are sitting on a faded wooden swing set in a small, quiet park. They're 17, and the whole world feels like it's laid out just for them. Pinky promise, Mia says, extending her little finger, a playful glint in her eyes. Noah smiles, his heart doing a familiar flip. Pinky promise, he replies, linking his finger with hers. Forever, no matter what. No matter what, Mia echoes, her voice a soft whisper. You and me, against the world. For them, forever wasn't just a word. It was a universe they were building together, brick by brick, with shared secrets, late-night talks, and dreams whispered into the darkness. They navigated the hallways of high school as a single unit. When Mia was overwhelmed with college applications, Noah would show up with her favorite ice cream and a stack of silly movies. When Noah's parents argued, making the house feel cold and unwelcoming, he'd find refuge in Mia's warm, chaotic family home, where he was always treated like a son. They were each other's safe harbor in the stormy sea of adolescence. They believed their bond was unbreakable, forged in the fires of shared laughter and dried tears. They had a plan: graduate, go to the same state college, get an apartment together, and just be. Simple. Perfect. But life, as it often does, had other plans. The first crack appeared subtly. It was a letter, a thick, important-looking envelope addressed to Mia, from a prestigious art school on the other side of the country. A school she had applied to on a whim, never daring to believe she'd actually get in. She hid it for a week, the weight of it a growing secret between her and Noah. She finally told him one afternoon, her voice trembling. Got in. Noah looked at the acceptance letter, a mix of pride and a new, unfamiliar feeling washing over him. It felt like a cold stone dropping into his stomach. Wow, Mia, that's amazing. But his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. The plan, their shared blueprint for the future, suddenly had a glaring hole in it. It's just an option, Mia said quickly, sensing his unease. We still have our plan. State college, it's fine. But it wasn't fine. The unspoken tension began to build. Every conversation about the future felt like walking through a minefield. The easy comfort they once shared was replaced by a careful, fragile silence. Noah started pulling away, spending more time with his basketball teammates. He felt a growing resentment, a selfish anger that Mia might choose a dream that didn't include him. He couldn't articulate it, so it festered. Mia, in turn, felt torn. The guilt of wanting something for herself warred with her love for Noah. She tried to talk to him, to bridge the growing distance, but it was like speaking a different language. He was distant, cold. Her confidant, her other half, was becoming a stranger. The loneliness was suffocating. The breaking point came at a party a few weeks before graduation. The air was loud, thick with music and forced laughter. Mia was looking for Noah, wanting to just grab his hand and leave, to go back to their swing set and find their way back to forever. And then she saw him. He was in a corner, talking to another girl. But it wasn't just talking. He was leaning in close, his hand on her arm, laughing in that specific way he only ever laughed with Mia. And then he leaned in and kissed her. It wasn't a passionate, movie scene kiss. It was brief, almost casual. But for Mia, watching from across the room, it was a cataclysm. The world tilted on its axis, the music faded, the crowd blurred, and all she could see was the promise they made, shattering into a million tiny, irreparable pieces. Betrayal. It was a physical pain, a sharp, cold blade twisting in her chest. She turned and fled, the sound of her own heart breaking louder than the party's bass line. Noah saw her leave. The brief thrill of a moment's distraction vanished, replaced by a tidal wave of panic and regret. He ran after her, calling her name, but she was gone. The days that followed were a blur of unanswered calls and unread texts. The silence from Mia was a deafening roar in Noah's ears. He had messed up, catastrophically. He had let his fear and insecurity drive him to hurt the one person he had promised to protect. He was lost, adrift in a sea of his own making. Mia, meanwhile, was packing, not just her clothes, but her entire life. She packed away the photos of them, the silly little gifts, the concert ticket stubs. Each item was a memory, a painful reminder of a future that no longer existed. Her heart was a hollow ache in her chest. The betrayal had done more than just hurt her. It had forced her to look at her own path. A path she now had to walk alone. She sent one final text to Noah. The day she left for art school, Noah stood by the old swing set, the place where forever had been born. He looked at the empty swing beside him, the silence a testament to his failure. The promise wasn't broken just by a kiss. It was broken by fear, by selfishness, by the failure to communicate when it mattered most. It was broken because they were just kids, trying to navigate the enormous weight of a word like forever. Years passed. Mia thrived in art school. She poured her heartbreak, her loneliness, and her eventual healing into her work. Her art was raw, emotional, and beautiful. She made new friends, had new experiences, and slowly, painstakingly, built a new version of herself. A version that wasn't one half of a whole, but a complete person on her own. Noah went to state college, just as planned, but it felt empty without her. He threw himself into his studies and basketball, using the discipline to keep the regret at bay. He grew up. He learned about accountability, about the consequences of his actions. He understood, finally, that his fear of losing Mia had been the very thing that drove her away. 5 years later, Mia had her first solo gallery exhibition back in her hometown. It was a huge success. The gallery was buzzing with people, critics, and old friends. As she stood there, taking it all in, a familiar figure appeared at the edge of the crowd. It was Noah. He looked different, older, more settled. The boyish charm had matured into a quiet confidence. He held a small bouquet of wildflowers, the same kind that grew near their old park. He walked up to her, his expression unreadable. "Mia," he said, his voice steady. "Your work, it's incredible. You're incredible." Mia's heart, which she thought had long since healed over, gave a familiar flutter. "Noah, thank you for coming." An awkward silence hung between them, thick with 5 years of unspoken words. "I'm sorry," Noah said finally, the words he had rehearsed 1,000 times in his head. "For everything. I was scared, and I was stupid. I broke our promise, and I've lived with that every day." Mia looked at him, really looked at him, and saw not the boy who had betrayed her, but a man who was owning his past. The anger she had held onto for so long had faded, replaced by a gentle, melancholic understanding. "We were kids," she said softly. "We made a promise we didn't understand how to keep." She led him to a painting in the center of the gallery. It was a depiction of 2 figures on a swing set, their silhouettes outlined against a vast, starry sky. Their pinkies were linked. "I guess, in a way," Mia continued, a small smile playing on her lips, "we did keep it. You were there for me, even when you weren't. You were the catalyst. You pushed me to find myself, to stand on my own. And maybe that's a different kind of forever." Noah looked from the painting to Mia, a profound sense of peace washing over him. The forever they promised as teenagers wasn't about never leaving, never changing. Perhaps the real promise was about the indelible mark they left on each other's lives, a mark that shaped who they became. Their love story didn't end in betrayal. It evolved. It became a story of growth, forgiveness, and the enduring power of a connection that, even when broken, never truly disappears. They didn't know what the future held, but in that moment, standing in front of a painting of their past, they found a new kind of beginning. Thank you so much for watching. This story is a reminder that love and life are complex, and sometimes the most painful goodbyes lead us to our most important hellos, especially the one we say to ourselves. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. We love having you as part of our community. See you in the next one.